I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning, but hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test, part 42, Religious Conflicts, part 6, that is on page 24. So we were just that during the reign of Henry VIII, which was from the 21st April 1509 until the 28th January of 1547, Wales became formally united with England by the Act for the Government of Wales. Act for the Government of Wales. That makes sense. The Government of Wales, a bit at least. And the Wales were starting to send representatives of Wales to the House of Commons in London, I guess. We haven't heard of this specifically. But we know that the House of Parliament is in Westminster. And we don't know what Westminster is in London, but Westminster is in London. And the House of Parliament is in London. And the House of Parliament, we're not specific about it, is split in the House of Lords and the House of Commons. And the legal system of Wales was also reformed. Henry VIII was succeeded by his son Edward VI. Now we know of an Edward I, who made the Statutes of Rutland in 1284. And we don't know of any other Edward, but now we have Edward VI. And Edward VI was the son of Jane Seymour, Edward Jane Seymour, Seymour with the E, Edward VI, the son of Henry VIII, Jane Seymour, and Jane Seymour died shortly after the birth of Edward VI. Jane Seymour the third wife. Henry VIII was succeeded by his son Edward VI, who was strongly Protestant. In some areas we want to have a great pre-knowledge about things. They want us to understand directly what Protestants and Reformation and Protestantism and Protestant they want us to understand all these parts directly, but in other parts we know not much. It's a combination which is not usually to be acquired inside of the heads of people. If someone doesn't know the things about Henry VIII and his 6 wives, and they don't know much about Protestantism and Reformation, so they will be unable to understand this, except they already know this. And why are we here? So, Henry VIII was succeeded by his son Henry VI, and Henry VI was a Protestant. That means the Protestants during the time of Reformation, they were against the ideas and practices of the Pope and the Roman Catholic Church. How should we pray? That they wanted to say who got bishops and how should we worship. And the Protestants wanted to read the Bible in their own language, which they couldn't understand, not in Latin, not to pray to saints or worship at shrines. And something else. And that the personal relationship with God is more important than to submitting to the authority of the church. Now the first exercise, just comfortable standing, a bit more than shoulder forward, apart with the legs, and we're making forward shoulder circles. Go back, up, the front, and down. And this was the last round. And now we are doing backward shoulder circles. Up, back, down, front, up, back, and down. Last time. And now another exercise for the shoulders. You're breathing in and lifting the shoulders up. And out. And again in. And out. Again in. And out. Again in. And out. And the last time breathe in. And out. And because these exercises fit so together, the last exercise for the shoulders, we're breathing in now. Real solid exercise for the shoulders. You're breathing in and lifting the arms up, the apple plucker. And now we're stretching always with one arm high up, and we're pretending to take an apple hanging high on a branch of an apple tree, to turn it and to rip it out to harvest that apple tree. And a few more. And one last round left. Oh, the first arm. And the second arm. And now back to here. So Edward VI, the son of Jane Seymour, the third wife of King and of King Henry VIII, was a Protestant. During his reign, the Book of Common Prayer was written to be used in the Church of England. So, we know that the Bible is important for Christianity and also for the Roman Catholic Church. And it must be also important to Protestants. So to Protestants. They read the Bible in their own language. So they had not put the Bible apart. They still used the Bible. But during his reign, the Book of Common Prayer was written to be used in the Church of England. So there's the Church of England. That was founded or established or whatever. Was there any term used? Established. He established the Church of England, where he was the head. So in this Church of England, where the Book of Common Prayer is used, or was used, we don't know it, but during his reign, the Book of Common Prayer was written to be used. So while he had the reign, the Book of Common Prayers was written to be used in the Church of England. So there is a book which is called either Common Prayers or the Book of Common Prayer. So from the title it is a book, this one, and in it are prayers. So I don't want to talk about this, or that's personal for many people, but things to pray. Short texts to pray and common prayers, so texts which Protestant could pray with. So this Book of Common Prayer was written and used then in the Church of England. A version of this book is still used in some churches today. Okay, wait, we have explanation. So a version of this book. So not the original version. Why not? The language had changed in 500 years. But it's still used in some churches today. I guess they mean churches of England and not other churches. There are many different churches in Christianity. Maybe there are churches, a part of the Church of England, who are using this book. But I guess they mean churches and now the buildings, or what happens in these churches and of the Church of England in England are using this book still today. Okay, that is all what we have here. Now a little story to another book. It is the Canterbury Tales, written by Geoffrey Chaucer around 1400, the time when English became the language for official documents and the royal court and the parliament. So Geoffrey Chaucer had written the Canterbury Tales about a group of pilgrims traveling to Canterbury, and on their way they are telling stories to each other, and it was by William Caxton, printed with the printing press. It was in 1400, or around 1400. Next exercise, we're having the legs standing wide apart, we're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And we're breathing out and we're going over to one side. And we're breathing in, come back into the middle, and out over to the other side. And breathing in, again middle, and out over to the other side again. Breathing in, and out over to the side. And again in, and out. We're going over to the next exercise. We're breathing in, and out. We're bringing one shoulder. And breathing in, and out the other shoulder. And again in, and out the other shoulder. And again in, and out. Breathing in, and out we go down. We're breathing deep in from the nose to the chest. And out. Close the legs. You're breathing deep in. And out, we're coming with a long backs. Let's do the next exercise. We are having the feet pointing to the outside and underlap space between the heels. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And we're breathing out and we're going down. And we're placing the elbows against the inside of the knees. We're breathing in and coming taller with the back. And out and we're coming with the back up. And breathing in. And out back into the garden pose. Breathing in. And out into the garden pose. Again, in. And out into the garden pose. Now breathe in. And out, we're coming slowly up in one straight line. And we can do the last exercise, the seahorse pose. And I can read the book while we're doing that. You're having a standing leg and you're placing the heel of the mobile leg on top of the knee of the standing leg. Do this only if you can do it without injuring yourself. You're breathing in. And out with the singing down. Now I wanted to go back to something else where we were talking about books and languages. So in Britain there was Celtic spoken during the Iron Age. And when there came the Anglo-Saxons and the people started to talk and a language on which modern English is based upon. And when the Norman Conquest came in 1066 and the ruling class was speaking Norman French and the peasants Anglo-Saxon, we're breathing in, and we're going down north with the other leg. And when out of these two languages the modern English developed. But I wanted to go to that one thing back. So one was Geoffrey Chaucer with Canterbury Tales, and in Scotland many people continued to speak Gaelic, and then the Scots language developed. And one poet was John Babur. Okay, it was John Babur. And we're coming up again. John Babur. The closing exercise. We're breathing in. And out. Again in. And out. Again in. And out. Again in. Out. We're closing the legs. And we're done with the morning session. So it was John Babur who wrote the Bruce about the Battle of Bannockburn, in which the Scottish army led by Robert the Bruce in 1314 had won against the English in the Battle of Bannockburn. John Babur. Edward died at the age of 15 after ruling for just over 6 years. Now, if we want to, we can calculate a lot around here. We know that Edward is the son of Jane Seymour. We know that Henry VIII married 3 more times. He married Catherine Parr late in his life. We don't have any dates to any of these, when that happened. But he got a child together with Jane Seymour, so Edward. And then 3 more wives, and when he died, he still was married to Catherine Parr. And now Edward died at the age of 50. And he ruled for 6 years. That means that Edward VI started his reign at the age of 9. And that he then died with 15 after ruling for 6 years. That means that King Henry VIII, if he was the successor, died 9 years after he had the child with Jane Seymour. After ruling for just over 6 years, and his half-sister, because they have a different mother, Mary became queen. So Mary became queen. Mary is the first child of Catherine of Aragon. Mary was a devout Catholic and persecuted Protestant. For this reason she became known as Blood Mary. Okay, Catherine of Aragon. We don't have anything to the religion here said, but Catherine of Aragon is from Spain, and Spain was Catholic. And so the child of Catherine of Aragon was Catholic, and Mary was Catholic, so the first child of Catherine of Aragon. And Catherine of Aragon's child, Mary, did persecuted Protestant. I never really got into the persecuted, but it means that she went after them. We don't have time left. We're going in that further in the probably last chapter, last part 2, part 7, religious conflict. I thank you very much, and until next time.